Turkey, Greece and the era of cold peace. When Sailor Bear arrived in Athens on November 28, 1952, he could not possibly envisage that he would be the first and only Turkish president to ever visit neighboring Greece. 65 years later, another leader's name will be added this week to that exclusive list. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was not even born at the time of Bayar's trip, will land in the Greek capital on Thursday for a landmark two-day visit aimed at keeping dialogue open between two countries that have traditionally been at odds over a number of thorny issues. Without a doubt, President Erdogan's visit is historic, said Alexander Valtteri, a foreign policy expert at Macropolis, an Athens-based political and economic analysis website. It is significant, mainly for its symbolism and comes at an extremely crucial time for the developments in the wider region, she told Al Jazeera. Troubled past. The two NATO allies have long shared a tumultuous relationship, fueled by historical rivalries and mutual distrust stretching back centuries. Greeks lived under Ottoman rule for some 400 years, before fighting and winning independence in the 1820s and 30s. About 100 years later, the Republic of Turkey was founded by Kemal Ataturk following the defeat and expulsion of Greek forces from Anatolia by his troops. Since then, the two neighbors have lurched through the decades surrounded by militarized disputes and bitter prejudices, as well as the occasional rapprochement. At the worst of times, they have come close to war, as it happened in 1996 over conflicting claims to ownership of unpopulated islets in the Aegean Sea. At the best of times, they have sought warmer ties, as it occurred in 1999 after successive deadly tremors in both countries sparked an outpouring of mutual sympathy and a political willingness to address differences in the so-called earthquake diplomacy that followed. Trade and cultural ties have since strengthened and channels of communication remained open, with an increasing number of meetings at a foreign minister and prime minister level taking place over the past few years. Erdogan himself last visited Greece in 2010, when he was prime minister. The relationship between Greece and Turkey has always been marked by ups and downs, Emmanuel Karagiannis, a senior lecturer at King's College London, told Al Jazeera. The current phase can be characterized as cold peace. The two countries have maintained high-level exchanges, but tensions remain high. Split Island. At the heart of the strained ties, beyond disputes over maritime and airspace rights in the Aegean, lies Cyprus. The Mediterranean island has been effectively divided since an Athens-backed coup in 1974 and a subsequent Turkish invasion. Since then, its Greek and Turkish Cypriot communities have lived on either side of a 180 kilometers long, UN-monitored ceasefire line cutting across the island, while repeated diplomatic efforts to end the partition, which also involve Greece and Turkey as guarantor powers, have failed. The most recent reunification bid, described as the best chance to broker a deal in generations, collapsed in dramatic fashion last summer, and analysts believe nothing substantial will come out of the upcoming talks in Athens. No one should expect a miraculous effect on the Cyprus issue, Sinemagolis Ikmaz, professor of international relations at Istanbul's Kadirhas University, told Al Jazeera. Analysts in Greece agreed, pointing out that nothing will change before the Greek Cypriot presidential elections in early 2018. I estimate that there might be an attempt for some kind of informal understanding to lay the ground that, in the case of any future favorable conditions for the resuming of the talks, the mistakes and omissions of the past will not be repeated, Angelos Athanasopoulos, senior diplomatic and European Union affairs editor at Greek daily Tuvima, told Al Jazeera. Keeping dialogue open. During his time in Athens, Erdogan will meet Prokopis Pavlopoulos, his Greek counterpart holding a largely ceremonial post, before having high-level discussions with Alexis Tsipras, Greece's prime minister. Erdogan will also head to Thrace, a region in northwestern Greece where there is a Muslim minority. There, he will attend Friday prayers at a mosque in the city of Komotini. Ahead of the talks, diplomats from both countries hailed a focus on the positive development of the relations through dialogue at the highest level. In their meeting, Tsipras, 43, and Erdogan, 63 are expected to discuss issues of mutual interest, including ways to advance trade and economic ties, as well as cooperate in transport, culture and tourism. However, no major breakthrough is expected in any of the long-standing contentious issues. Keeping dialogue widely open through such a positive agenda has obvious significance, said Ikmaz. However, it is over-realistic to foresee a new chapter in bilateral relations with such pragmatic dialogue channels as long as there is no political settlement on issues of conflict between the two sides. Refugee deal, Turkish soldiers. The two leaders will also discuss regional security and terrorism, but another topic high on the agenda of both sides will be the refugee crisis. In March 2016, the EU, of which Greece is a member, and Turkey signed a controversial deal aimed at stemming the influx of refugees to Europe. The agreement, which sees Greece and Turkey carry almost all the responsibility, has led to a sharp decrease in arrivals compared to the height of the crisis in 2015. Erdogan has previously accused the bloc of not keeping its side of the deal about visa-free travel for Turkish citizens. Turkey hosts nearly 3 million Syrians, and Erdogan has also threatened to open the country's border gates with the EU for refugees to pass freely. With Greece still struggling to cope and arrivals lately picking up, Vouteri said the Greek side at the talks will insist on preserving the deal to avoid a return to the situation of 2015 and early 2016, when more than 1 people crossed into the country. Greece wants to put an emphasis on this and secure Turkey's compliance with the deal, because there is a big concern over the size of migrant flows by boat from Turkey, added Athanasopoulos. The situation on the islands has reached a tipping point. Hotspots on the islands of Lesbos, Samos and Chios are hosting up to 3 times as many people as they were designed to accommodate. With winter approaching, human rights groups are sounding warnings over the deteriorating conditions in the island's crammed and dangerous camps. For his part, Erdogan is expected to renew a Turkish call for the extradition of 8 soldiers who fled to Greece in a military helicopter and sought asylum as a failed coup attempt was underway in July 2016. Earlier this year, Greece's top court ruled against extraditing the officers, drawing an angry response from Ankara, which said it would review its ties with Athens. Cyprus has maintained that the decision by the Greek justice system must be respected.